Good afternoon, all. Camelback Trading 2724 coming to you this Tuesday afternoon, April 7th, and a wild day for the SPY. We're looking at the SPY ETF here on Window Trader. And we talk about voids, right? And vacuums to price. Well, those algos wanted them today, and boy, they got them. The problem is what they did or what they didn't do after they got up there. As a rip up with a huge gap. Think about this. We opened at 274.21. Yesterday's high was 267. We had a 721 point gap. Got filled. It got filled. We got with a price probe to the downside. We go out with a price spike to the downside. We have an afternoon rally high. Only ended 7 wide, yet never could bring back. We couldn't drag down the POC at all, and we never dragged value down. Both those things got me in trouble in J period, which we'll talk about in a little bit. So the question is this all the buyers wanted to do? We got to within about $3 of half back of this entire move. The volume, 193 million. The bad news for the bulls is most of it was on the downside. A period, very good on the upside. But then after that, it was mostly done on the downside. So we're going to end up doing at least 200, still below average, which is 261 million, but certainly better than it's been the last bunch of days. I didn't do anything in A period. I said I wouldn't do anything in A period. There was nothing to do in A period. You were opening on a 700-point gap. Your next destination was an afternoon rally high, well, besides the pre-market high, which we took out right away. And by the way, now, we took out the pre-market high and low today, and which is rarely done. So just something. And I should have known, it's also rare when you take out the initial balance on one side, you rarely take it out on the other. This should have been a very, very important calling card on our afternoon rally high. When I thought we would get it, we failed at the open, and that should have been a big little red light flashing in my face. But I did nothing in A because, like I said, the next destination was the afternoon rally high at 280.74. Price was just going all over the place, and I let it. So once market-generated information formed, that's when I got on board, and that's when B took out A's low, and I got on board with a short and had a nice trade and scalped decent size for like 30, 40 cents. Did the same thing in C period. Then in E, right, we were one-time framing down. The gap was still holding. D stopped the one-time framing down. E opened. Before E even took out D's high, I said, you know what? They had a chance to fill the gap. Now let's see what we got back to the upside. So before we even took out D's high, I didn't play Innovator in D. I played it in E. I went long, and it popped. I mean, literally popped really nicely not long after I bought it. So I had 3 really good trades to start the day. And that was, I did that. I was doing those. I used 2 different accounts. I traded my IRA and my trading account. And for whatever reason, I traded my IRA first today. Should have done it the other way. Because, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, my trading account is the important one. That's what pays the bills every day. So the IRA had a very nice morning. But then in the trading account, so this is what I did. Now, I'm not going to second guess myself. It's easy to do that. So I didn't do anything, right? So I did that trade in E. I didn't do anything in F, G, H, or I. I was telling everybody it's total chop. We were 7 wide. We couldn't get back to the opening, which again should have been, at the time you're not really thinking it because for a couple of reasons. I knew it wasn't getting back to the opening at that point, but you had higher value and you had 7 wide. I really thought the odds would be to look for an afternoon pullback low and at least get back to POC. Wasn't looking to take out the high. I couldn't care if we took out the high. So I started buying in J. Not in the beginning of J either. I started buying it down here. However, obviously, it wasn't the right thing to do because we went down in J, K, J and K, I'm trying to think when I got out of the trade finally. I kept adding on to it. It would push down, come back, push down, come back. I had a chance to get out of it for almost a little loss. I didn't. I finally got out of it in K period for a decent size loss. And then the problem was, that was my trading account. I only keep a certain amount in there, so I risk only a certain amount. I had to refresh my buying power. That took them, it usually takes 5 to 10 minutes. It took almost 35 minutes. So now, after that, I was certainly looking for shorts. I was like, okay, this game's over. It's not going back up to the park with that. I'm looking for shorts. I think this gap, well, the gap did get filled. I got out of my position right before it closed the gap. But there was still a lot of pain. So an L period, if I had the chance, I would have shorted it. I had to wait. M period, I took the chance. M took out my goal in M period before it took out L was to see it rally, not take out L, get short, and then come down. Well, obviously, we took out L's low first, which kind of put a damper on things for me. But then it rallied. And I told you a bunch of days recently, we've taken out one side and taken out the other side. The tempo was not good, but I still was not. I took this trade thinking I was going to be holding it, because I'm going to show you on the charts at 271 level now. I took it on late because I thought I would be holding it overnight. I thought the 350 algo would pop, but I took the short right around L's high. We went higher. I was now in a pretty good hole between that long trade I lost on and now this short trade. And I thought, since we had taken out L's high, the odds of M popping higher were good. And I was like, okay, I'm going home with a position. And then M opened and dropped like a rock. And I made back half of what I had lost, only because I only had 25 contracts. I was long upwards of over 120 contracts, 140 contracts down here. If I had held it the whole way down, I would have made it all back and more. But I was very surprised that M, the 350 algo, went lower. I was like, okay, this is a gift to take back half my loss. I took it. That's fine. Tomorrow's another day. But I was quite surprised that we did sell off like that at 350. But the tempo was not good. So I wasn't going to be that worried if I went home with a position if we had closed up around here. So anyway, I'm flat. Tomorrow's another day. So good day in the IRA, losing day in the trading account, but nothing disastrous. All right, destinations for the upside. So we have a price probe. M's low. 265.62 will be your first destination. Then C's low, right? To me, anytime you make a new high or low in J, K, or L, if you close below it, that's a price spike. The market spiked lower or spiked higher from the day's high or low at the time. Well, that's what we did. So I'm using C's low of 268.02 as my next upside destination. Then 273.92, which was our afternoon rally high, and today's high of 275.03. For the downside, we have today's low of 264.89. Then the price probe. Now, the price probe, it held. We'll see. I mean, the price probe from yesterday might have been saved by the bell because we got into it, obviously, K, L, and M. But right now, 263.15 is the price probe from yesterday. Then we have the price spike from yesterday, 262.96. They're fairly close together as opposed to these two being far apart. Below that, we have the single prints. Remember, we had a trend day up yesterday. 261.27 get filled at 24, 3 ticks. Remember, if a trend day is to be taken back, it's usually late in the second day or the third. Well, tomorrow will be day 3. And then below that, we have daily low of 256.73 and then filling that huge gap at 253.22, 351 points. But considering we close a 700-plus tick gap today, that 350-point gap doesn't seem like much. Never thought I'd see the S&P trade like a penny stock. Utterly amazing. Now, the real good, important question is, what gets taken care of first tomorrow? This price probe and price spike, or this price probe and price spike? I'm not happy the way the market closed. I would think the odds would favor the sellers, but never underestimate this market. Now, charts. So here's your weekly. We got up to 275.03 today, right? We all one time framing up 3 weeks. So even though we pulled back a lot today, and this is not showing it, is it? This chart's still wrong. There's no way that should show that small of a wick. I'll fix it by the end of the week. But we did get up to 275.03. That's the good news. The bad news is we came in $10 and closed at 265.13. Now, we're still above last week's high by a couple of points. So we'll have to see what happens tomorrow. And then on a daily, still one time framing up, right? 4 days now, right? We had the 3-day balance, but 2 of them were one time framing up. Then we have the gap. Then we had a huge gap today in this. Now, here was your first void, right? I put a line in there. 271. Well, 271.08 was the high, but I'm not going to worry for pennies. 271. Got above it today by $4. We got above it by $4, only to close below it by 6 almost. That's some wild price action. So the question now, right, that was a huge void that we finally got up and filled. Yes, there is another one above, but now you have to deal with today's high before you even think about the next one. So if we can't take out today's high in the near future, well, then the question is this all they wanted to do? It remains to be seen. And one other thing on the monthly, we didn't get up to it. I was watching it today. It's further away than you think. So 275.03 is this month's high so far. That trend line is at 277.77. So it did not get as close as it looks on the chart. Anyway, I hope you had a good day trading. It wasn't the easiest of days, no doubt. We had a lot of conflicting info. The fact that, let me show you one more time. A lot of conflicting info. And that's why I stayed out of over 2 hours worth here, right? Before I got involved. I mean, we had higher value. We had a gap. So the play for me really was to look for a long when it sold off. I'm still, it's kind of like I'm more talking to myself than to you out there, but it's a good thing to do to assess, what I did, why I did it. Am I happy I lost money? Of course not. Am I happy I got out of the trade when I did? Yeah. Sure, it came back. Did I know that was going to happen? No. Did I know if I held it? No, absolutely not. So, but market-generated information works. There was conflicting information today, right? I mean, the POC was higher, was 7 wide. The odds of getting 9 would have been good because we had a gap in higher value. But on the flip side, we couldn't get through the opening. And then once we got back and closed the gap and kept dipping into yesterday's range, the tempo totally changed. Anyway, have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.